You don't want to miss the variety. You know they say variety's the spice of life.
It's kind of sexy.
Turn your notifications on for when we go live. We go live on Facebook. We go live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. We're global, baby.
Welcome.
And you can be too. It's the all-new Ray Thomas Variety Show, powered by Thumb United, driven by Cadillac of Fayetteville, sponsored by Barber King, Just Cactus, Hot Sugar Pop, Uptown's Chicken and Waffles, Wreck and Release, Game Day Cuts and Apparel, Vivid Culture Media Productions, I Create T-shirts and more, Philip Michael Fashions for Men, Dine Out Gourmet Chicken Sausage and Waffles, The Global Variety Store, the all-new Ray Thomas Variety Show Live, new features, new spotlights, but also giving you the power to voice your concerns, to use your voice, to express yourself. Yeah! Featured globally on BroncoIRadio.com and where podcasts are located. We don't change things up.
Come on, who's next?
We're here to empower you. For booking, email RTHOMA, 11 at uncfsu.edu or Tonya McGrath at gmail.com. TONIAMAGRAS@gmail.com.
So come on, people, call us now.
910-527-6566.
We got the file!
617-331-9607.
Call me anytime.
It's the rebranding. I know you've been waiting. The all-new Ray Thomas Variety Show Live. Here we go. You know the saying, Ray Thomas knows people, and people know Ray Thomas.
And that is a call that must be answered.
Now, back to the Ray Thomas Variety Show. Would you like to be a guest on the Ray Thomas Variety Show? Email gm@broncoiradio.com with your information, because you know Ray Thomas knows people and people know Ray Thomas.
It's the Bronco iRadio. Go to your computer and you hear a great show. Cause we on. Listen in the afternoon, 9 in the morning. Playing all the hits for you to listen to. Live on direct from FSU. Homie, we on. Shorty, we on. Listen in the afternoon, 9 in the morning. Welcome to a new era of the radio. So go ahead and cool out to the sounds of your favorite show. Attitude check, Bronco pride. Turn on your computer and just vibe. And you know how we do, run by the students, so it's all about you. And send your requests, we will get them on for you, that's a bet. And keep you in the know, the information given throughout the show. Take time to listen, tell your friends. If they don't believe it, let them know again. Yeah. Catch the sensation, turn to the new #1 station. Yeah. Go to your computer and you hear a great show. Cause we on. Listen in the afternoon, 9 in the morning. Playing all the hits for you to listen to. Live on direct from FSU. Homie, we on. Shorty, we on. Listen in the afternoon, 9 in the morning.
It's Wednesday afternoon.
Heat that beat up. Heat that beat up.
Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show. Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show.
If you've been listening to the same old hand-me-down lame-old radio show, check my man Ray Flow. There you go. Parks for this, Bronx up in this North Cac, South Cac, where you at? It don't matter. Matter of fact, all states, cities, towns, and districts is talking about Ray Thomas. He up on their lips like lipsticks. Lipsticks are clueless. How we do this smoothly? How we walk you through this? Q. If you asking who this 2468, who do we appreciate? R-A-Y on your R-A-D-I.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
It's the Ray Thomas Variety Show.
Sing it.
Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show.
That's right.
Ray Thomas on your radio. Yo, the world famous Ray Thomas Variety Show.
Yeah. One time for your mind, 2 times for the show. 3 to get ready. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Doing now with dropping bars.
Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, with bottom. Here we go. Here we go. With bottom. Here we go. Here we go. With
I'm not
bottom.
mad at it.
Here we go. Here we go.
My bar game isn't as on point today.
Your bar game. That's almost like you were on an apparatus, like you were a gymnastics person. Your bar game.
No, man, that's spitting bars.
Oh, bars. Yes, indeed. Put him in the court. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. It's BroncoRadio.com. We are emanating from historic Fayetteville State University, where we are
Proud to be.
Yes, indeed. Blue and pinky Tuscadero bell ringing over there. All right. So I'm he that is him, the heavyweight Ray Thomas. It is Wednesday afternoon, and it is Fried Chicken Wednesday on the campus of Fayetteville State University. Historically, at most major HBCUs on Wednesdays, it's Fried Chicken Wednesday. Get your grease on. Your chicken on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And we always miss it.
We always miss it.
Yeah, because it ends at 2:30. Am I correct?
Yep.
Over there in the Rudolph Jones Student Center cafeteria.
You literally have to run.
Yeah.
And
It seems to me you guys need some kind of coordination with this. Like maybe, Ebony starts the show, she runs, she gets the chicken, she comes back in, then you guys, between segment 1 and 2, you guys can have a couple pieces, and then we get. I think some coordination needs to happen because,
we're missing
it's clearly important to you all.
Well, all I have to say about that.
I can't indulge up here, but.
All I have to say about that, we can't get grease on the apparatus here in the studio, so there will be no chicken eating in the studio. I'm just saying that now, just so that we can be clear, because don't put ideas in Ebony's head. Well, Miss Tonya said. I am not co-signing on that, Ebony.
I just like to start trouble.
Yeah. Don't start none, won't be none. I'm just saying. All right, so welcome to the program.
Can I tell you something really exciting?
Okay, go ahead, tell us.
So people are going to realize that my voice sounds a little weird. I am under the weather, but I'm here, and I'm excited to be here. We have a great show. But more than that, I'm excited because I am off one of my medications, and I'm down 50% on my insulin because of this new weight loss, not even weight loss, it's a nutrition program that I'm on from O'Neill Anderson. And when I tell you that this is a life changer, it's a life changer. And we're going to book O'Neill to be part of this radio show so he can tell you what he's done for me and what he's doing for other people. So I will make that happen.
Yeah, because
I just wanted to give my little personal.
You've been shamelessly plugging O'Neill Anderson, OA, for weeks now. So OA, you better come correct, brother. Yes, indeed.
Yep, I'll make it happen.
That's
Maybe
right.
we can do him next week.
Yeah. Bring OA on. OA on the RTVS Live. That'll be a good thing. But that's kudos to you, Tonya. That's good stuff. That's great information. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
We're happy for you.
Down 10 pounds.
Yes, indeed.
3 weeks. And I'm already off one medication, and I'm down 50% of my insulin.
Oh, wow. That's very good.
Now you know, Tonya, we were supposed to be on this health thing about exercising and all that, but we never got to actually implement that, as well as our natural hair care thing that we were doing. But I've implemented mine, so as y'all can see that it's still, yes, indeed, I'm on my journey. It's about, what is it? Is it a month and a half? Almost 2 months now?
No, it's not 2 months. It's been about I
think a month and a half.
Mid-September.
Yeah, what do you,
okay.
You said September. Yeah, September, then October. We're in November now. So I'm like, it's about 2 months.
But okay.
No, my tone.
No, I wasn't giving you tone, Miss Tonya.
I wasn't giving you tone. No, I wasn't
Does that sound like tone to you? It sounds like a little bit of tone.
No, I was doing the math while you were talking. You said mid-September, right? So if it's mid-September, that means that there are 30 days in September. So that's 15 days if it's mid-September. Am I correct? Then we went to October. There are 31 days in October. That's a whole month. So that's a month and a half. Now we are actually on the 10th day of
November.
November. It's November because my wife's birthday is this month. It's on the 15th. So I say it out loud so I'll remember that so I don't get, hemmed up. So anyway, so it's about 2 months, right?
Yeah.
If you do the math, Barack Obama says the math's got to add up. So I'm about right? 2 months? Okay, Tonya,
Yeah.
I'm not liking the tone face that you're giving me right now. Tonya with the good light.
I was just waiting for you to finish all of
Okay.
your math before I responded.
Okay, let me get this thing off my screen
You're right.
there.
It's
All
been
right.
about 2 months.
Don't you hate it when you're using your phone as a camera and then all these like little notifications drops down and sits right in front of you so you can't even see what's on your screen? And then I'm afraid to like swipe those things away because sometimes you may swipe and you'll lose your camera. And I don't want to do that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, my co-host goes by the name of 3-time Emmy Award-winning producer, director, writer, documentarian, mother, daughter, aunt, grandma. You're not a great-grandma yet, though.
You forgot wife.
Wife. Oh, yes, indeed. And I guess this is the part where I'm supposed to drop your hubby's photo in here somewhere. Let me see where I can pop him in so it doesn't.
Wife.
Yes, indeed. Proud wife of this guy. There he is right there in the corner. Yes, indeed. Mr. Gregory McGrath. Yes, indeed.
He's also upstairs. He just got home, so he's also upstairs.
Yeah, but you're going to milk it, right? But don't tell him. You're going to milk this food poisoning thing, right?
I know.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell him, so
but
it's
I
a
don't
secret.
I don't want to sound like too sick on the phone, but I need to understand that I need to be taken care of.
Yeah, so right now, go ahead and just get a coffin. Get a coffin. Yeah, there you go. Good. This is called hopefully he's not watching this show right now. Gregory's like, you guys, you despicable guys. Okay. Also, in the midst of us, she is
the intern, Ebony Lawson.
Oh, do you hear her tone, Tonya?
Ooh. I know. I'm
man.
loving it.
Using her outside voice.
Go ahead, Ebony. Using your outside voice inside. I love that.
I'm so happy for you, Ebony. See, you make my face smile. Look at that. I'm like, man.
I know. I'm smiling too.
Yes, indeed.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Ebony with the outside voice.
Ebony with the outside voice. That's
yes, indeed. Right. And there may be some other interns that pop through. We never know because interns have classes, and so if they're available, they'll make it to the show. If not, it is definitely okay. But, Tonya, we have an esteemed guest, a friend of mine, but a friend that does a lot of things. You know what? In another life, she was Jamaican. I'm just saying. She was definitely Jamaican because she has 13 jobs. Yes, indeed. Or 13 things that she does, really well. She's definitely a multitasker, but I'm going to leave that to you, Tonya, because I know Tonya loves to do the introductions like she's on the Emmys and stuff like that. She's the announcer. So go ahead, Tonya, and do your thing.
Well, our special guest in the building today is none other than Denise Granberry. She is a full-time entrepreneur who specializes in the barber and beauty service industry. She has been successful in providing barber and beauty coaching services throughout the world. Her bachelor's degree is in theology, and she specializes in branding, marketing, and advertising. As a business and licensed life coach, Ms. Granberry enjoys mentoring entrepreneurs, encouraging seasoned businesses, and watching them flourish. She's a Renaissance woman and offers services and levels of expertise in various industries. Currently, she owns and operates Vicky Styling, where she designs and sells custom salon capes, smocks, aprons, shears, razors, and much more. Her latest venture is It's Branding Time, a lifestyle
branding time.
Created
It's branding time.
Empower
It's
women.
branding. You gotta say it with your chest, Tonya. It's branding time.
Encourage abundance, luxury, and independence in aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the world. And recently, Ms. Granberry became an international best-selling co-author in her latest book, Broken Crayon Still Color. She devotes her time as a mental health advocate and provides counseling and resources for families in need. Yes, you do have 13 jobs. Welcome, Denise. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And thank y'all so much for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, yeah. It's an honor to have you here, girl. I'm about to adjust your camera and put you on the big camera because I don't need. There we go. Bam, bam. There she is. All right. Go ahead. Yes, indeed. Speak on it, Denise.
So Denise, welcome. Let's just jump right into it because I know that you have a lot of expertise. Excuse me, expertise in styling and hair. But I really want to start off talking about your work in mental health as a mental health advocate. How did you get started in this?
Mental health. Mental health is dear to me. And how I got started in it is because I have a son who has mental health issues. And with that, I went through a tragedy with my son having mental health issues. And so I've been advocating for mental health since I seen that my son had mental health issues at the age of 10. So I was always behind the scenes helping with mental health, volunteering in the community, volunteering with politicians to see if they were going to help in the community as far as mental health, if they were going to deliver. You know how like U-Haul delivers, they deliver.
Right.
You got FedEx, they deliver. And we also trust in DHL, they deliver. So with that, and with my son having mental health issues, that was something that became very dear to me, because I already knew that with being a single parent, that there was a chance that I was going to get help and I wasn't going to get help. But the chance was better if I didn't give up the fight.
Right.
And with that chance being better right now, I'm here and I'm able to talk about mental health and to break the stigma of mental health in our communities. To break the stigma of, and don't get me wrong, because I am a believer, I am a Christian, but to break the stigma in the African American community of saying, okay, you're okay, go pray about it. Okay?
Right.
But at the same time, when you're going to go pray about it, God is going to give you some wisdom to go get counseling. To go get counseling.
You said that, because I mean, oftentimes in the Christian community, in faith communities, we do hear that oh, I'll just pray over you and everything will be okay. And you know, I'm really glad that my pastor, shout out to Bishop Lawrence Ward of the Abundant Life Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and he's a huge advocate for people, not just mental health, but physical health, that we have to be responsible with these temples that God has given us. And that means that when things are not going well, that we seek out the help that we need. And we can do that also in prayer, but really to kind of seek out the help that you need. But I want to talk a little bit more about the stigma that we do have in the African American community, that, you know, we don't typically, particularly with our males, we don't support them in therapy. We don't support them in trying to get mental health services. So can you talk a little bit more about why that's so important that we kind of break this cycle?
I think it's so important, and the reason why I think it's so important is because with me dealing with the mental health issues for over a decade now, and dealing with it with my son, dealing with it with my cousin that's a boy, dealing with it with my uncles, dealing with it with my best friends that are boys, I noticed that the elephant in the room was fatherlessness.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that another elephant in the room is the community. You know what I mean? Because as a community, we got to stand up. If you know that there is the elephant in the room in that household is fatherlessness, what are we going to do about it? What should we be doing about it? Let's talk about it. Let's have a dialogue about it. And then you have it to where even with the stigma, the mother, being a single mother, she's had issues that she's had to deal with. And there were mental health issues. I got to be real. I've had some. And so we have to talk about it. If you're a single mother in the home and you're dealing with mental health issues and you're trying to dissect you having it, but you don't think you have it because you've been praying about it all these years. That's what they've been telling you to do. But at the same time, you hear a voice saying, hey, you need counseling. You need counseling to deal with your child, because your child is going through this because the father is not in the home. Okay?
Yeah.
And so there goes rejection with the stigma from the child. And so a mother can impart that, but you cannot be the father. You cannot.
Right.
There's no way around it. You cannot be the father. And so that's
because we can't teach these young boys how to be men because we're not men.
Exactly.
And I picked up on something that you just talked about, and I think it's just really important, is that, you know, we all deal with some levels of mental illness in our time. I think we do. People suffer from depression. People suffer from anxiety. I suffer from anxiety. I am being treated for it. I take care of it. And so I think that people don't understand that. I think at one point in your life or another, we all had some issues with mental illness. And, you know, and I think that the difference is that, you know, some of it can be just situational, and then once that situation has resolved itself, we can then get back to a healthy way of thinking and feeling. But for some people, it's not that easy, and some of it is trauma and other things that we just don't even know about. So I just wanted to just jump in and just touch upon that, because I think that's such a very good point that you made up, that we all, in some way in our lives, have had to confront issues of mental illness in our own personal lives.
And you're right about that. And then piggybacking off of what you asked me earlier about the stigma, why is it so for African American males? And it's because 75%, and this is around the world, 75% of the homes between the 60s and now are mothers, single parent moms in the home, whether it be through divorce, right, you know, whether it be the father passed away, you know, whether it be the father just don't want to be there. There's that stigma that's there again. So what do we do with that being the elephant in the room as well? Because a mother, and I talk about this a lot too, because a mother, she worries a lot. You worry a lot trying to raise your son, right? Because there's already this stigma. And so a mother tends to worry a lot, and worry brings on sickness. It can bring on cancer. It can bring on diabetes. You're not eating right. And so that's another thing that I stress out a lot to a lot of moms. We have to take care of ourselves when this stigma is going on, and we got to eat right, because cancer can attack us very fast. And then you're a good mom and you're dying at an early age because you've took on something that a father's supposed to help you take on. So it's so important as mothers that we get counseling, and we eat right, and we live right, and we trust God at the same time. And I really believe that that's why I'm here, and that's why God's given me this voice. Because of that, me going through the traumas and the tragedy, with that, I'm able to tell the next woman, hey, you know what? You can come out of this even if you don't have a father in the home, even if there was a tragedy, but you got to take care of yourself, because cancer is knocking at your door. Then your son really ain't going to have you or your daughter, you know, or your grandchildren.
Wow.
And I'm saying this because this is something that I'm going through and something that I'm coming out of. And I want to be that voice because I know it's nobody but God. It's nobody but God that I'm able to be that voice for mental illness, you know? And so another thing that I've started was my nonprofit, and it's called Mommy.
M-O-M-M-Y or M-O-M-M-I-E?
Okay, so let me tell you. M-A-O-M-I. And it's Mothers Against and Over Mental Illnesses.
Okay.
Because we're against our children taking drugs for the mental illness. We're against our children being exposed to different neighborhoods because of mental illness. We're against mothers not getting help. Right? Counseling for themselves when their child is going through a mental illness, and for their child. We're over it. We're over people saying they're going to do something and there's nothing being done. We're over, can I say this? The politicians saying they're going to do something, but they're not delivering, like DHL, FedEx. Okay? We're over it, you know? And so that's why I called it Mommy, you know? Because that's, and if you look in the back, it's branding time. If you look in the back, that's what your children are saying to you all the time. Mommy.
Yeah.
Mommy. You know, even your grandchildren, they'll be saying it, learning how to say mommy. And a lot of the times, us mothers are left with that situation of trying to figure out our boys. And I've always been about the boys because I always knew and I always seen. And it shows before us that they already have what they say? When you come out the womb, you're already being targeted. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. Yeah. But we have to break that stigma too, you know? So mental illness, I mean, I go hard for it. Like, I go hard for it so much because I know that so many women are going through what I'm going through, mm-hmm. coming out of, or getting ready to go in it.
Yeah.
And I have the answers, you know. I have the programs. I've been through all the programs. I think I kind of wore North Carolina out because I had all the resources. Mm-hmm. I had all the resources so much that people was like, how did you find these resources? And social services can't find them. Well, let me help social services.
Right.
So that it won't happen to another mom. Let me do this. Let me be that, and let me go through this so that I can help another mom. So that's why I'm here. And that's why I talk about it in my book. Mm-hmm. You know.
So
let's jump into your book. Let's get right into it because you are a co-author of an international best-selling book called Broken Crayons Still Color. Talk about this because what it is, it's almost like an anthology of all these different people who are contributing their stories about brokenness and then healing. So talk about how this whole project came together.
Oh, wow. First I have to, thank God. First I have to salute my coach. She's on the book. She's on the back of the book. I'm a coach, but everybody needs a coach. You can't
That sounds familiar. Because actually my high school basketball coach has a book that everybody needs a head coach, which is Tonia's uncle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, Coach Mike Jarvis. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow. That's amazing.
That's true.
I need that book.
Okay. We'll get it to you.
So, I'm a firm believer in that because I'm not an island. I learned that a long time ago. I'm not an island. I don't want to be an island. So my coach, she heard about my story, and she was like, you know what? You really got to tell your story. Now, I have been hearing people say you got to tell your story, but it wasn't time yet. I'm going to tell you why it wasn't time. Because I was dealing with mental illness from going through my story. So I was not healed yet. Because there's a healing process that I had to go through. I had to get counseling to get this story out. You know what I mean? And by the time I was getting my healing, getting my counseling, I was praying. I was like, God, you know what? I'm an overcomer by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of my testimony. And my testimony, amen. I got to tell it. I got to tell my testimony because I'm here. I'm here in the flesh, and somebody is either coming in, going out of what I done went through.
Right.
So when she heard my story, she was like, you know what? She called me from out of nowhere. She said, I got an anthology I'm doing, and you got to be in it. And I said, me? Yeah, how I'm going to do this? Let me tell y'all something. It was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, writing my story, telling my story, because it was so painful. It's so painful, so tragic. But there's always somebody going through worse. But anyway, she was able to get this book out of me, and that's why I'm here today, and I'm so thankful for it because, like I said, it has changed a lot of lives. Soon as people start reading the book, they'll call me, they'll be crying, or they'll be sitting in my chair reading the book, they'll start crying, and then it's time. You know what I'm saying? It's time to pour into them. It's time to minister to them. It's time to minister to them about their son. It's time to minister to them about their nephew. It's the time to minister to them about their brother. It's time to minister to them about their uncle. Because it ain't just my son. It's a lot of people's sons that's going through this.
Yeah. You want to share just a little bit about that, your story? Just so the global audience will have an idea of where you're coming from.
Okay, so with my story and in my book, I talk about how my son murdered someone. And he murdered someone close to me. Okay? And in that, my son had the mental illness. And so my son didn't know who he was, what he was, or anything. And so with the mental illness, my son has paranoid schizoaffective disorder.
Wow.
And my son got it from his father. And that was the generational curse that I was trying to break. You understand what I'm saying? And so with him getting it from his father, he ended up doing the same thing that his father did. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's be real about it, about what's going on. You understand? And that's the stigma that I was trying to break. But being a parent by myself, I couldn't do it.
Right.
And I'm here to say that I couldn't do it. But I tired out all the resources that I could. I have a whole stack of papers where I exhausted the whole state of North Carolina system. Can you imagine that? Exhausting a whole North Carolina system, and then you still go through a tragedy that you was trying to prevent, and that it could have been prevented had you had the help that was promised to you. Imagine that. That right there, it took me somewhere. It took me through PTSD, okay? And it took me through anxiety, you know? And then it took me to a point to where I was going through it with, like, forgiveness. Let's talk about that. How do you forgive your son for doing such a tragedy? And you tried to get your son all the help that you could.
Yeah.
Forgiveness. Nobody just wakes up and say, hey, when my son turned 18, he gonna do something so tragic in my life, I'm gonna be at a point to where I cannot forgive him. Imagine that as a mother, when you've exhausted everything.
Yeah.
You know? But God. God. And I stress that, but God, because it's nobody but God that has me here living, breathing, and telling my testimony to save other people's lives and give them the resources that they need in the community.
Yeah, and you love to use this scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, as well too. You know, I was snatching.
Oh yeah.
I went to your page and I was snatching some things.
Yeah.
You know, it's for I know the plans I have for you. You know, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
And that's an amen to that. Because, like I said, my plan was to see my son walk across the stage. I didn't experience that.
Yeah.
My plan was to see my son go to the prom. He had mental illness. I couldn't experience that. My plan was to see my son have a girlfriend. I didn't experience that. You understand? That was my plan. But the scripture says, I know the plans that I have for you.
Yeah.
My plan was to see my son go to college. I ain't experienced that yet. And so God knows the plans that he has for me. So I have to walk this plan out and trust God in this plan that he has for me and the community, because God is about the community. He's not about a democracy. He's about theocracy. Theocracy. And the theocracy means a whole community. Democracy means one community. You know? So that's why I'm here. I know the plans that God has for me, for my future. And it's not just about my future. It's about other moms' future, other single parents' future in this world. It's bigger than me. So, yeah.
You know, I want to jump in because, you know, and of course, my condolences are going out to this horrible event, and just to know that, you know, the whole generational kind of mental illness and how it passes on. So, and I've shared this story many times, and my husband has talked about it publicly. His dad committed suicide, and then my husband's firstborn daughter also committed suicide. And when you talk about just generationally and how these things can impact you, you know, I see the pain. I see how hard he works in his faith with God so that he doesn't fall into that darkness that I think was just so ever present. And so I, you know, and I ask people out there to really kind of take this whole thing seriously, because mental illness can be hereditary. And we don't talk about that as much. You know, we say, oh, you know, so-and-so, oh, he's just a little bit crazy. No, there are things that can be passed on generationally, and so I'm glad that you just mentioned that. We have a couple of comments here from our global peeps. Jill writes, I feel like my son is suffering with mental illness as well. My mother and my husband's mother both suffered mental illness to the point of institutionalization. What can you say to Jill about, the fact that she thinks her son may be having some mental health issues?
You know what, Jill? First, I know your pain. Because you just don't, like I said, you just don't wake up and say, okay, when my son turns 12, he's going to have mental illnesses and not play football.
Right.
Or when my son turns 12, I can't take him to the museum and he's not cut up. You just don't. Jill, listen, that's what I'm here for. Like I said, I started a nonprofit called Mommies. You're a mom. And you just talked about the 3 men that's suffering from this, right? Okay, then you have another chapter that I'm with, and it's called mentalhealthamerica.com. Also, I'm going to have an event on December the 13th if you want to come by. I will have all the information for you. If you need to call me, inbox me. Please do not hesitate to call, because I have the resources for you so that you won't be doing this by yourself. Okay? I want you to know that you're not alone. I also want you to know that I'm here for you, and I'm always praying for you. Even though I don't know you or see you, I know your pain. And God allowed me to go through that so that I can always be reminded of that there is a mother that's going through that with her son, with her father, with her husband, or with her brother, or with her uncle.
This kind of hits home a lot for me too, because I think of my marriage. Like I think I told you earlier, I got a divorce, and when I was in there, my husband at the time, I felt like he had mental issues, and even as a wife at that time, you don't have choices to getting them the help that they need. Like, you can't really get it. And so with me having my son now, it's like, okay, how do we prevent that from happening? Like, what do I need to do to protect him and to get him the help? Because I feel like if I get a diagnosis on him, then maybe I would have a diagnosis for his father, because it's at a point to where, they don't want to go get help. You can't force him to go see a therapist. You can't force him into mental institutions. You can Baker Act them for 3 days, but they're going to send them back out with no help at all.
72-hour hold.
Yeah.
You got to get that book.
Yeah.
72-hour hold.
And there's no rights as a wife, or even as an ex-wife, or as a mother. You're just trying to get to those resources. So how do you get help for individuals that's stuck in that situation? I left because it was too much, and I didn't have the assistance with his family, because I felt like they had maybe had mental issues too. So it was just a whole big thing. You're like, okay, I'm checking out. I'm done.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Like, do you have any advice for something like that?
I do have some advice, and they have a program here that you can start, and it's over there on Pamela Drive, and they start from the ages of 7 all the way up to 15. And a lot of people don't know about it. I had to research and find it myself. I found it myself because I was that hungry about getting my son some help. And they help you, and it's a 3-month program. And I'll give you the information. I sure will. I would love to give you the information. But they help with multi-symptomatic behavioral problems. And they even be on the clock 24 hours. So, for instance, if your son is acting out and you don't know why, and he's doing things like my son was doing, running down the street butt naked, or just having a schizoaffective disorder, and you couldn't deal with it, before calling the police, because that's another thing. Before calling the police, you can call them, because your son is already in the program, and they'll send the person that's assigned to your son. They'll send them, and they'll help you talk your son down off of his mental illness if he's not medicated
because
yet.
they're properly trained for that.
They're properly trained,
as opposed to if you call the police, it may end up in a way that we've been seeing quite often.
Oh yes, and I got some instances where I've called the police, and they would pull up and just laugh and mock us. My son would run out there butt naked, And they would just laugh, didn't do nothing to him. He'd run circles around them. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. My son need help. Like, can't you see this is not normal? Oh, wait a minute. Don't shoot. Imagine going through that. You don't want to call the police because you don't know because they're not trained. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's get them trained. They're not trained for mental illnesses, especially with African Americans. It's either kill or be killed. I've experienced that. I've experienced all of it, you know? And for the police, they really need to be trained in a sector where it just specifically deals with mental health. Okay, this young man is getting butt naked when I pull up. Don't pull guns on him. Let me see what's going on with him. Or this young man is beating up his mama because I went through that. Let me see why he beat her up. You know, and it'd be times where I would let my son beat me up because I was too scared to call the police because I knew they wasn't going to do nothing but laugh at me.
Wow.
And mock me. You understand? So there are programs for you. I know that there are right down the street here, but they're not going to push that agenda out there because they don't want us to really know and be educated on it. But you have resources, you have help. I'm right here. I can even take you there today if you want to go and get you the application, help you fill it out and everything. I didn't have that when my son was your son's age. See, that's why I say God is nobody but God. What are you going to do in your tragedy? What are you going to do in your trauma? Are you going to heal from it so you can help somebody? I'm healed from it so I can help you. And it's time. You went through a divorce. I went through a divorce. My son rebelled when I went through a divorce. My son didn't know why, and I didn't explain to him because I don't want to turn my son against his father. You're a good dad. So why would I do that? But my son didn't understand how to lash out. That's a form of trauma for a child. Right. You know? So yeah, it's going on, and a lot of parents are ashamed. I went through a point where I was ashamed. God, I'm a Christian. No, no, God, he just cutting up his school. No, I'm a Christian. I ain't gonna, not my son. Yes, your son, Denise. Your son has mental illness and it's hereditary, and he got it from his father. Yes, your son. But what are you gonna do about it? I put my feet to the metal, pedal. I did, and I'm so thankful for that because I could have sat in it and still be going through something because I didn't exhaust the system. I exhausted the system, and I'm glad that I did because I'm able to give you the resources. Right. You know?
And that's why I told you.
How can we
Jamaica.
as a community kind of get past and push past that shame and that embarrassment of wanting to get someone, our loved ones, our children, our spouses, brother and sister, some help? How can we get past that shame? Because that's real, and you're, you know, I like to do this thing like dropping nuggets, and you're just dropping a ton of them today. But talk about that a little bit.
One thing that I think is exception of denial. Exception of denial, because we in denial. You want your son to be the best doctor, the best lawyer, the best radio show host. That's your prayer. And then when your son starts acting out and he's very different from other children, or your daughter, and they're very different from other children, denial sets in because you've had this plan all figured out. Oh, they're going to go to elementary school. They're going to be the A student. They're going to be top of the line. When they get into junior high, they're going to go to prom, and I'm going to get this suit. I'm going to go get this suit. The shoes to match. You got all this planned out. But what's your plan B? Right. What is your plan B? And what's your denial when you get to plan B? What are you going to do to not be in denial? If we can stop the stigma of being in denial, of perfecting our kids and wanting them to be perfect, considered to society, considered to what your uncle wanted them to be, your mama wanted them to be, considered to you wanting them to be better than their father. Because that's what I wanted. I didn't want my son to go through the same thing as his father went through. Let's talk about that. Let's be real about it. A lot of us are in denial because of those reasons. You want your child to be the best football player, so you denying the fact that he needs to be getting counseling instead of going to football practice. You want your son to be the best basketball player, so you denying counseling when he should be. I mean, you're denying counseling, and he's at basketball practice, and he should be in counseling. Then he can go to basketball practice, so he won't beat nobody up on the court.
So let me ask you, why do you think that there's such a big taboo placed on the African American community in regards to mental health?
I think that it started, we can go all the way back. We can go all the way back to slavery and how we were suppressed and how we was always taught to deal with stuff, ancestral. You know, we can go all the way back there, and it was taught. And so now we at a point to where we all got to teach each other and show each other in the community how to heal from that. You know, stop suppressing slavery. You know, forgive during slavery. You know what I'm saying? Forgive all that and quit holding that up like it's really something. But I really believe that's why it's suppressed. You know, and then you got, you got different parties that's always using that to suppress it. Slavery is not here no more, but it's here. It's slavery of the mind.
Mental
now.
slavery, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, stop using that and saying, we're going to do right by you. We're going to do right by prison reform. We're going to stop we're going to get more counseling in elementary school, but that's where it should start. Mental health counseling should start in elementary school. That's where it should start at. It really should, because that's where it started with me and my child. And I see with me studying in the statistics, that's where it starts for all parents. Parents tearing that door down to get to their child because their child cutting up, or because the teacher act like they cannot deal with, okay, well, let's do something better. Let's go ahead and add a mental health curriculum in college so the teacher can see the signs and deal with it and help the parent. You just sending the child home and not giving the parent the resources. And you know the resources, or you see the resources. And another thing too, Ray, transparency is key. Transparency is the only way we're going to stop stigma. Transparency is the only way we're going to stop stigma. And, you know, a lot of the times when I was going through that and just going through court after court, I lived in the courthouse with my son because he was doing a lot. He was doing so much. But yet and still, I was still fighting for the community. I didn't stop there. You know what I'm saying? But transparency is the key when it comes to our children, and denial. And if you're not gonna be in denial, then you won't be ashamed. You know, because I was ashamed, and it's a painful shame. Let me be real. It's so painful because that was my only son. You know, that was my only son. So it's a pain. And I'm going to the doctor. The doctor said, you about 5 inches away from getting cancer. You eating like this. People think you healthy and you look healthy. But if you go back to my pictures of 2016 and 2018 on my page, you can see that I was emaciated. I was literally about to disappear from here. I was so small. I was so little. But people didn't know that I was going through that stuff with my son. Not eating. Turning away from the plates. I was fasting, but I wasn't fasting the right way.
Okay.
Right.
It's a difference. I'm fasting trying to find my son help and not eating. But I was supposed to be fasting and praying even harder.
Wow.
We have another question from Jill. She wants to know what kind of support programs are there for parents to talk about these issues amongst themselves and perhaps help each other in dealing with living and working with children that may have a mental illness.
Well, there are several programs. There are actually 2 programs, including mine. Mine is Mommy, Mothers Against and Over Mental Illnesses in the community. And I'll talk about that a lot, and I'll be having my first event on December the 13th at 1019 Hope Mills Road. And I'll be having all the resources for the Fayetteville, North Carolina, and surrounding areas to talk about it, to open up that platform for that, because it's so needed. and the holidays are coming. It's so needed. And then you have Mental Health America. It's called MHA.org. And it's an organization that I'm with, and I'm with the chapter in Charlotte. And the reason why I'm in the chapter in Charlotte is because they help out a lot. Like when I say they help out a lot, they help out so much, and you're able to go and talk about your story and help other mothers and give them the resources. And then I just did Walk for Hope. Walk for Hope is a community in Raleigh, North Carolina, and what we do every year, we walk for hope. And on this Walk for Hope, it's a lot of people and testimonies somewhat like mine, and they have gone through mental health issues. It's walkforhope.org. And like I said, if you can't find any resources in your area, please contact me, because I will be able to help you. I can dissect it all the way down to the T. I don't care what age your child is. I'm willing to help. I can help you, and I would love to help you because I know how it is. And I just want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. And I want you to get to a point to where you won't be ashamed. Because the more ashamed you are, the more you're suppressing things, and then you end up mentally ill and sick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I thank you, Denise. I really think that you're going to help a lot of people today just with this conversation. How can we use the church to help support parents, loved ones in their helping people with mental illness? What's the church's role, and how can we ask the church to be more proactive when it comes to dealing with issues of mental illness?
You know what? That is a very good question. Because if you read all through the Bible, especially David, and I talk about this a lot in my meetings of how David had PTSD fighting Goliath. Mm-hmm. You know, David had mental health issues because if you read the Psalms, David was always like, woe is me, I'm up under a tree and I gotta fight and I'm sick of this. And he was always somewhere hiding, going through a mental illness. Look at Moses. Mental illness is talked about all in the Bible. And I really believe if we expose that to our pastors, sit down and go and talk to the head about it and ask their take on mental health, and see where they're at on mental health, and give your answers to what God helped you with and what God helped you, delivered you through, and talk to you about with mental illnesses, it'll start opening up that gateway for that pastor or even teachers in preschool, not preschool, but children's church to talk about it. Because a lot of people are dealing with mental illnesses in church.
Yeah.
You're dealing with mental illnesses so much, you get church hurt. Because somebody reminded you of your past, and that mental illness just triggered. You know? And I really think it should be not just because of COVID. I just really think that the pastor should talk about it more because it's in the Word of God.
Yeah.
He talks about it. Jesus had to heal the little boy. The little boy was filled with demons, mental illnesses. He was full of them. And he had to go cast them into the pig. Let's talk about it. Mental illness, let's stop being ashamed about it. A lot of pastors are ashamed to talk about it because you don't want the congregation to know, and your numbers is up and the money is up too. We don't want to talk about mental illness because we might not get the numbers.
Wow.
So I think it needs to be a bigger dialogue about it, and let's be truthful about all the mental illnesses that were in the Bible. God was transparent about it. Y'all know David had a mental illness. He talks about it all through Psalms. You can read the Psalms today. You can read Psalms 91 and he'll tell you how mentally ill he was going through. That stuff was messing with David's mind. That stuff was messing with Moses. My parents give me away? That's tragic. You find me and some other people that don't like us giving. He went out in the field and was by himself. You can't tell me that what Moses went through wasn't mentally ill. You got to turn a cane into a snake into a cane, a stick. A lot of the stuff he dealt with, he had to deal with all the community like he was a president. He went through some mental issues. He had to deal with them and their mental issues. Let's talk about it. It's in the Bible.
So we have a comment from Stephen Dalton of Leviticus Charlotte, who was with us about a week ago.
Yeah.
With his listening party with his lovely wife, Lisa. So, Tony, you want to read the comment? Because you like to read the comments.
Yeah, sure. This is a great comment. He says that the church needs to be honest and realize that prayer is good. However, God has anointed doctors and other professionals to operate in their calling. People, church, people, all people need professional help. Amen to that.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yes, sir. Well said, Steve. Look at you, Denise. Just sparking great conversation. But you know what? And the funny thing about this, and I don't say funny meaning like it's actually funny, but we need to have these conversations.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because for so many years, it's like, oh, no, we can't talk about that on the air. No. Closed doors, yeah, but not on the air. No, let's just play the music.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up and dribble, but shut up and play the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, broadcasters wouldn't allow you to get into that, right?
That's right, Ray. You're absolutely
Which is why
right.
I'm never afraid to talk about my anxiety that, like I mentioned, I get treated for it because, and I've talked about this publicly, I think I hid it many years through alcohol, and I wasn't really dealing with the underlying issue. But once I stopped drinking and I was having these like immense pounding chests and feeling like every single thing was just out of control in my life. And I finally went to my doctor, and he said, do you have a history of anxiety in your family? And, of course, when I went to talk to my parents about it, it was always like, well, you know, I mean, I don't know about that stuff, blah, blah, blah.
That denial, Denise.
But, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's real.
It's real,
absolutely
though.
Real. And, I mean, it was keeping me up at night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And so once I realized there was something wrong, and I was able to get treated for it, my life is just so much better. And I'm not embarrassed, and I'm not shamed about this because it is real. It is real for me, and it can be debilitating if you don't get the necessary treatment that you need. And, you know, something like anxiety can present itself in a lot of ways. And like I said, you know, I drank for years, and that's how I was just kind of masking it. And that's all I was doing was masking it, because when you're drinking, your feelings, everything that you're feeling in your head, they're all messed up anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So once I was able to clean myself that way, I realized that this was an issue for me. And now that I'm treating it, and I treat it every single day, I can breathe normally, and I can feel things very normally. So if anyone out there if I can just tell anybody anything, please talk to your primary care physician. I'm not an advocate at throwing drugs at everything, but there is a need for certain mental illnesses to be treated, and so I'm a huge advocate for that.
Oh, that's good, and thank you so much for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Ray says, you know, we come on the radio show and we're having a lot of fun, and we get to talk to great guests, we have great conversations, but things on the inside may not always be what they appear to be, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that having these kind of conversations and having guests like you to come on, and particularly to share your story, Denise, which is, you know, and my heart goes out to you, but you seem like a very strong person, and I will continue praying for you. But to be able to share your story, for my husband Greg to tell the story about his father and his daughter both committing suicide, for me to talk about, this is what we need to do. This is how we start to break the stigma, and we break down these issues of shame and embarrassment is by talking about it. That's the most important thing that we can do, to normalize mental illness, normalizing it in the sense that it's not this taboo. It's like someone has a broken leg, you talk about it. Somebody has a patch over their eye, you ask them about it. Somebody is laying in bed for weeks, you call and you see if they're okay. This is how we have to normalize mental illness.
That's right.
Well, I just want to say it's definitely my pleasure to have you on the program. You always know that you have an open invitation. She's always sharing. And this is only one facet of who you are, though. There's so many things that you do, so we're going to have you back on to talk about some of the other things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the global tresses, the virgin hair, and all that. You know, the Brandon time. It's Brandon time. You got to get all up into that as well, too, because there's so much to share. You know, but that's why we do what we do here on this platform, is to allow people to come on and share their stories.
Yeah.
And, you know, and sometimes the story is multi-layered. It's not just one layer. You know, so we have to invite you back so you can peel off just like an onion. Peel the skin back. Yes, indeed. So this is definitely an open invitation for you to come back, and thank you for sharing. And also, let's give another shameless plug out to your book, and where can people go ahead and, as they say in the streets, cop that book.
Well, you can get the book on Amazon. It's definitely on Amazon. Broken Crayon, Still Color. And again, it's international #1 best-selling author. Shout out to all the co-authors on the book, and Coach Stacy. Yeah, so it's very healing. And I think everybody should have a copy, because some of everybody's story is in the book.
Yeah. And also, if you need that virgin hair as well, too, make sure you go to www.globaltresses.com. Yes, indeed. Get you some bundles. Yes, indeed. So that's going to be another show. We have to come back and actually have you in studio, and it would be lovely if you can bring a guest with you, and we can actually do some live in studio stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Salon Live on the RTVS Live. So always a pleasure. Thanks for coming through and sharing your story, Denise.
Thank you for having me, Ray. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and also blessing our audience as well too, because as you can see, the involvement from the Global Peeps today was definitely great. You know, and it's becoming more of a norm for us to have these conversations. It's important.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So that's what we do here on the platform. So definitely so. All right, so we're not going to take a pause, because we're going to get right into our News Now segment, because I know Tonia's on borrowed time, but we're going to cover the things that are in the news. And we definitely want to pay tribute to my homegirl and friend that recently passed just a couple days ago. And we'll let you know about that momentarily. But right now, it's I believe it's time for us to get into the News Now segment. Tonia, am I correct? Did I?
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I led into it the proper way and everything. What are we going to start with?
We're going to start with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah. Yes, indeed. Let's. Do you need the official intro, or do you just want to go into it?
No, I'll just go into it.
Okay, let me give you some Aaron Rodgers music then. Had some build up. Okay. We're live.
Okay. All right. So in this past August, Aaron Rodgers, when asked if he had received the COVID-19 vaccine, Rodgers said he had been immunized. We have a clip of exactly what he said, the question and the answer. Let's take a listen.
She just snuck that on me real quick. Hold on, it's coming, y'all. Wait a minute.
Are you vaccinated? Yeah, I've been immunized. You know, there's guys on the team that haven't been vaccinated. I think it's a personal decision. I'm not going to judge those guys.
So the NFL has fined the Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and wide receiver Alan Lazard for violating the league's COVID-19 safety protocols. League officials have launched an investigation into the Packers' adherence to safety protocols after Rodgers, the league's reigning MVP, tested positive for coronavirus a couple weeks ago. Now, the reason why we're talking about this now is because a couple of weeks ago on the News Now segment, we talked about Kyrie Irving, who has decided in his own way, in his own life, not to get the COVID vaccine. And as a result, he has been he's benched until Brooklyn decides that they want to have him come on. So, but the outrage here is the demonization that Kyrie Irving receives as a result of not deciding to not get vaccinated. Now, he didn't lie about it. He didn't make any excuses about it. He said, this is what I want to do with my body. I do not want to be vaccinated. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, just blatantly misled the public. And then on top of that, put himself and other people in danger by coming into close contact and contracting COVID. So what I wanted to just throw out there is just how Aaron Rodgers has been kind of getting a pass. I think that now people are starting to say, okay, well, there's a little bit more to this story and we should talk about it more. But when Kyrie Irving came out, man, they were coming at him left and right. Mm-hmm. Shots fired left and right after Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was in fear of losing some sponsors. Aaron has lost one sponsor so far. I believe it was State Farm. But other than that, not much has happened to the guy. I mean, he's going to miss 2 weeks of playing, and that's really it. And so, you know, this isn't a conversation about whether someone should or should not get vaccinated. This is about an individual who lied in front of cameras. He was specifically asked a question, and he lied. Because if you look up the definition of immunization, because I believe the soundbite says that I've been immunized, if you look up the definition of immunization, it means vaccination. You are putting something in your body so that you don't get sick. That is an immunization. That is what the vaccine, the COVID vaccine is. So he completely misled people. Kyrie did not lie. He was out front about it. Aaron lied and tried to cover it up, and then he got caught. So I'm throwing that out there because, you know what? It's like this good and evil thing. And these subliminal messages in our society, which have racial overtones when we talk about how people are treated for making the same decision, right? So they both decided that they didn't want to get the vaccination. However, Kyrie was upfront about it, got absolutely dogged in the press. Aaron lied about it and seems to be getting a little bit of a pass.
Can we say privilege?
I was going to say privilege.
Yeah.
Same.
You know, and you know, having the fines come out. I mean, let's be real now, because you know, the fines is going to be about $15,000 for each player. Now we all know that's not even a blip in Aaron Rodgers' bank account. So, but to the extent that, you know, he misrepresented himself as the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, he misrepresented himself as a team member of the Green Bay Packers, he misrepresented himself as a leader in the organization, and that's so he gets $15,000, and you know, for someone like myself, that would be the equivalent of $15, right? I don't know. I think that we need to be very, very critical when we think and look at the press and how people are treated in certain circles, and I think that this is one of the cases that, you know, Kyrie deserves more respect, better treatment. Aaron Rodgers needs to be fined and perhaps suspended from the league for a certain amount of time.
The thing I'm attempting to wrap my head around is that, you know, these are medical records, you know, for all of these people and these professional athletes as well. And whatever happened to the privacy law?
To the HIPAA law.
Yeah,
you know, why is it that I have to tell you if I'm vaccinated or not?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, you don't have to, and he could have just said no comment. That's what he should have said, no comment, and then the press could go back and make of it what they will. But
as they always do.
You lied.
Yeah.
You decided to answer the question, and you lied. Now, the organization, the Green Bay Packers, yes, they have all the medical records, and due to HIPAA laws, they are not able to confirm or deny whether or not Aaron Rodgers was vaccinated at that time. But what he should have said was no comment. I choose not to talk about my health in this platform. I'll talk about the game. I'll talk about the preparation, but I refuse to talk about my health. That's how grown-ups speak.
Right.
That's how grown-ups handle situations. What he chose to do was to mislead the public And and I say mislead, and I'm saying that very gingerly because that's what the press is saying, is that he misled. He lied, folks. He lied.
Sing your song, Tonya.
Lie.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the thing about Kyrie's situation as well, too, is that he plays in New York City, where the city has a mandate that you can't go into a building, without vaccinated. So that's kind of his issue as well, too. But Kyrie's going to come around and he's going to make a decision for himself. He's not going to be forced into a decision. And that's where I feel that, people have the right to either get the vaccine or not get the vaccine. Yes, we'd prefer for you to have the shot so you can be protected and protect others, from contracting COVID, or even, have the defenses to fight it off. Yes, we'd prefer that, but you still have a right as a human being to make a decision that's going to be best for yourself. And we have to respect that. And that's what it boils down to. I'm not going to hit you over the head with a chair because you're telling me that you're not going to get vaccinated.
Yeah. I know I know that has to have done something. It's a form of systemic racism, if you ask me. It's still going on, and it goes in the lines of what we have been talking about. I can imagine what it's doing to him mentally. He loves to play basketball. I can't play like I want to, and I can't compete like I want to, so it's doing something to his mental.
But
that's what they want to do, is break us down.
And then he's vilified by all of these NBA greats.
Former greats who had issues themselves because Magic Johnson had the HIV.
And he
was playing.
Yeah. Yes.
And played.
And what concerns did he have for his teammates? Because he was making
any.
Kyrie doesn't care about his teammates. Oh, but you played with HIV, so did you have concerns for your teammates, or did you want to play just because of the love of the game?
Any blood.
Could be in their eye.
Man, so
Yeah, I know that's got to be a lonely place, rejection place. There goes rejection he's feeling. And then I'm dealing with that, because I thought y'all was there for me, so now.
But then they attempt to make you feel guilty. Yeah. Well, James Harden and Kevin Durant came to the New Jersey. No, they came because they felt that they wanted to come. Exactly. They made a personal decision that was going to benefit their careers. Each individual made an individual decision that I'm going to go because this is what's going to be best for my career.
You're right, Ray.
You can't place it on another human being.
That's right.
Right.
And that's what's going on. So the Stephen A. Smiths of the world and all these people just yapping. Go ahead and wear the man's shoes. Put yourself in his shoes for a moment. And then what happens when you're in that situation where you're now the one that's being vilified? When people come for you, be careful what you put out there.
Yeah.
You know what they say about karma.
Don't be sticking that big old finger.
That's Uncle Ray's. That's Uncle Ray's wagging finger right there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wagging the finger right there. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. But I'm not going to vilify Kyrie because he's making a choice that he feels is best suited for himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously he's taking precautions in regards to, he was being tested just like everybody else. To make sure that he didn't have the virus and all that kind of stuff. So, this is like you're forcing somebody to do something. You're forcing. What does that sound? When you say force, it reminds me of slavery.
Yes.
Like, come on, y'all.
But with Aaron Rodgers, too, I thought they had to, because he wasn't vaccinated, they had to stay within that football bubble and couldn't go out. And to
how did he get it?
Already, you made a decision. I'm going to this Halloween party.
Yeah, how'd you get it? Come on.
Get it?
You should be double fined. I feel like it should be like $30,000 instead.
Definitely. So it's
always.
always.
I think $15,000 is absolutely nothing.
It's nothing to them.
It's crazy.
Oh man, I got a hangnail. I need to. Can you buy that clipper right there? How much? 15 cents? Okay, yeah, 15,000.
Right.
It's like, man,
that's right.
Ain't nothing. Man. Okay. All right.
Whew. Well, we're gonna move from kind of the bad news in sports to just wanting to pay our absolute homage to one of Cambridge Ridge and Lytton's greatest athletes of all time. Medina Dixon died Monday morning from pancreatic cancer. She was the top-ranked girls basketball prospect in the nation when she led Cambridge Winter Latin to a state championship title in 1981. The same year, Patrick Ewing led Cambridge to a third straight boys basketball championship. Medina, 6'3", went on to win an NCAA title at Old Dominion in 1985. She was a leading scorer on the 1992 Women's Dream Team that won bronze at the Barcelona Summer Olympics and played for 10 years pro basketball in Italy, Japan, and Russia. And, of course, this was obviously before the WNBA was created, because we would have been having much more accolades to say about this incredible woman. After graduating from Cambridge, Medina led the U.S. junior national team in scoring during a tournament in Yugoslavia, then starred at South Carolina in the 1981-82 season. In 1997, Medina Dixon was elected to the Cambridge Winter Latin Hall of Fame, and in 2011 became the 7th women's basketball player to have her number retired at Old Dominion. Then this past spring, Cambridge Winter Latin School retired Medina's number 44, along with her past coaches, teammates, and guests. Medina was unable to attend the ceremony, but she thanked everyone virtually. Let's hear what she had to say.
I am truly honored, and there are so many people I want to thank. I want to start with Cambridge Winter Latin. Thank them for holding the event, for doing such an awesome job. And my teammate. Thank all of you guys. It was so much fun, and this is long overdue. But thank you all, and I want to thank Coach Ewing. All of these guys are coaching now. Coach Jarvis, Coach Hobbs. I want to thank Coach Harris, Frida Harris, who really started off. She was the one who discovered me. Big thanks to her and Diane Galloway and Shelburne. Also want to thank Coach Riggs, Coach O'Callahan. It was so much fun, you ladies, and winning topped it off. I thank you for the experience. I learned a lot, and I also want to thank Coach Barnes. Always there. Always for the team and the players. Appreciate it. Much love. And I just want to say thank everyone, and you guys are such good friends, and I cherish that. Thank you.
Yeah, she will definitely be missed. Definitely rest in peace, Medina Dixon. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there because my second oldest sister, Carol, played on those teams with Medina, those championship runs back at Cambridge Winter Latin High School. And I was a youngster. I was in elementary school, while they were playing ball. And as I stated when we had her on the program, Tonya, this past summer, that she was definitely, someone that I looked up to. Because it's always like young guys, they look up to other guys. But I had my sister Carol, who was an athlete, also an All-American, and people like Medina. She was like the Patrick Ewing of like women's basketball in our hometown of like Cambridge, Massachusetts. Even though she was from Boston, Massachusetts, but she came over to Cambridge to play her high school basketball. So we are definitely blessed to have had her, and for the legacy that she leaves behind. And I'm so happy, Tonya, that we had the opportunity to be able to capture, those moments for her in regards to her jersey retirement and things of that nature. And just to have her on the program as well too, with a lot of her other teammates, and just to share and to speak about her legacy, so I'm just glad that we were able to give her roses while she was here.
Yes, amen.
And that's always so important.
Yes,
that's good.
Yeah,
it is. And I didn't know Medina personally. I didn't come to know her until we interviewed her, and it was always just, she was talking about the ultimate professional, ultimate woman, leader, and her friends, because we had Rhonda on, we had Katani on, we had Charlene Blake on, and just the way that they were just giving her, like you said, giving her roses right there. And she was part of the discussion as well, but it was really just people, she got a chance to just really hear about how she helped these people and inspired these people in their lives. And so when they asked me to come and do the retirement jersey, I was like, yeah, absolutely, you know. And, you know, she just always was very kind to me. You know, to say that she was a basketball legend doesn't give it justice. I mean, she transformed basketball in Cambridge forever. I know that they had shared stories about her playing with some of the guys and beating the guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
oh yeah. Yeah.
That
it's
good.
true. It's true.
And I also got a chance when I recorded her thank you speech. I got a chance to meet her wife, and so I just want to give my condolences out to her wife. My thoughts and prayers are with you. All her friends, her family. She was one of 10 children, and she was, you know, she stood out in so many ways. And Cambridge certainly has lost a legend, but I'm so glad that they were able to do all these things for her while she was still here.
Yeah, and I understand that you paid a little tribute to her as well, Tonya. I got it up on screen for you right there.
I
as well.
did. You know,
Yes,
that's my favorite hat, and and I had it on the other day, and Monday when we found out about her passing, and I just quickly, you know, just had to do this as my just very small tribute to her. And you know, the Boston Globe has already reported on this, and they're actually going to do a larger feature, I believe, for their Sunday edition. And I put him in touch with my uncle Mike Jarvis, who was, and we mentioned this before, he was coaching Pat Ewing at the same time, and you know, had just wonderful things. And I also just want to mention that this week on the Power Play show, we have moved some things around because I really wanted to re-air that interview that we did with her and Charlene, Katani, and Rhonda. I also wanted to play some clips from the retirement event where some of her past coaches, and including Pat Ewing, he was a part of that as well, were able to just give her her props and tribute then. So it's a special edition of the Power Play show calling Remembering Medina Dixon. That's going to be streaming live beginning tomorrow, Thursday, November 11th. You can listen to the Power Play show wherever you subscribe to podcasts, including iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora Podcast, and even Amazon Music. You can watch the show by visiting our YouTube channel. Just simply search the Whole Bay Productions Media channel. And you can listen to the Power Play show each Saturday at 5 p.m. right here on BroncoiRadio.com. And you can just always visit us at thepowerplayshow.com. So it's my joy to be able to do this. I hope that people will be able to tune in and just learn more about this incredible woman, a giant in so many ways, and she will absolutely be missed.
Oh, yeah. Well said, Tonya.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Lady Ice. Yes, indeed. Lady Ice, or Lady Iceman, is what she was known because she was so smooth with it, like George Gerving. Yes, indeed. Man.
Lady Ice.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, also, you've been traveling across the country and, you know, filming your soon-to-be release in a 2022 documentary. So you want to talk a little bit about that right now?
Yeah, so More Than Our Skin is a documentary where we're profiling 5 women who lived with the autoimmune disease vitiligo. Through their journey, we talk about their pain. We talk about some mental health issues. We talk about how they've been able to just deal with living with this disease that causes a lot of stigma, isolation, and sometimes suicide ideation. So we started filming in May of this year, and we're almost done. So I'm really just proud of what we've been able to do. This is the second film out of Hull Bay Productions. So you can visit us at morethanourskin.org to learn more information about the film, the people who we are profiling in this picture. And don't forget to get your tickets.
Hi, everyone. My name is
raffle.
Patricia Rossi,
Yes, we have some
one of the
great
5
prizes.
women who is featured in the upcoming documentary, More Than Our Skin. This documentary is about living with vitiligo.
One for $5.
Yes, I know, I'm here, but I'm excited to share with you some exciting news about our kick-off rally event, which is starting as you listen to this until November the 30th. So, to let you know, we have 4, when I say 4, great giveaways to offer with all, when I say all the proceeds going to the...
All right, so I wanted to play this week's raffle. I just inadvertently hit the wrong one, but here we go. So you guys can see what Tonya was talking about right here. This is what she was meaning to play for you guys.
Hi, I'm Katrina Christian, one of 5 women featured in the upcoming documentary film, More Than Our Skin, a film about living with vitiligo. I'm excited to share the kickoff of our raffle event now through November 30th. We have 4 giveaways to offer with all proceeds going to the production of this important film. For more information on the contest and the prizes, visit morethanourskin.org/raffle. Great prizes for a great cause. You don't want to miss this.
So Katrina is one of the 5 beautiful women. We have Valerie, Millicent, Patricia, Alicia, and Katrina. These women have become my sisters. And just to kind of hear their stories and what they've been able to just overcome with this autoimmune disease is great. We've talked to some renowned doctors who are going to help us kind of understand more about how vitiligo progresses and what kind of treatment options are there. And then we're also going to take a trip to Washington, D.C. to talk to legislators about finally making vitiligo known as a autoimmune disease and have some recognition for it. So we're really excited about this project, but we always need your help. So please visit morethanourskin.org. And thank you so much for your support.
Okay. Tonya, this is the part where you cough again. Cough real quick. You gotta remind Greg that he has to take care of her today. So yeah, just gotta remind him. All right, so man, good show today. Man,
very good show.
I'm like I'm full, y'all. You know what I mean by when I say I'm full. It's like you've been blessed, and it's like, man. So thank you, Denise Granberry.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Definitely so. Don't forget the book is Broken Crayons, Still Color. And you are chapter
23.
23. She's the Jordan in the book, y'all. She's the Jordan. Balling. Yes, indeed. And also want to thank all of our Global Peeps for tuning in this afternoon and participating in the conversation as well. We always do appreciate you guys.
Thank you all for your comments, your questions, everything.
Yes.
Indeed. There goes your global dings. Big shout outs to my homie, Kathy Espada. Hey, Kathy, I see you. Also, Rozier Ford, thank you for tuning in. Jill Royster Berry, another one of my homies. Thank you very much. Victor Dixon, we see you. Also, Steve Dalton, Leviticus Charlotte, as well as, hold on, I'm scrolling back up all the way. Yolanda A. Barnes Yogi with 2 eyes, and Chase Skittles. Isaac Hester, what's up, Dave? Checking in. Also, Linda Harper, and we can't forget about our guest, the one and only Denise Granberry. Y'all go ahead and cop the book, y'all. It's a good read as well, too. Very emotional, but it's a good read. Very emotional, powerful. So thank you for sharing your story, Denise.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank y'all as well.
All right, Tonya, so continue to cough and, have Greg continue to cough. This is your cue to cough, Tonya. Yes, indeed. Greg, you need to take care of your boo. I just want to make sure.
I think he left the house.
It's like, I'm tired of hearing this coughing. It's interrupting me. Okay. So, for
the intern, Ebony Lawson.
Ebony, you on a roll today, girl.
Yeah, she did very good with that inside voice.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, that outside voice.
Yes, indeed.
She was like, hey, I got a voice.
That's right. That's right. Utilize that voice, too. And also for my co-host all the way up there in the bean, she is...
Tonya McGrath.
And you cough after it.
Voice.
And you cough after it. Tonya McGrath. All right, y'all. In Your Face is not my place. Just in your ear and on your radio. It's BroncoEyeRadio.com. We emanate from historic Fayetteville State University, where we are
proud to be.
Yes, indeed. You said that. Go on. The girl's on a roll. All right, so we're gonna leave you with a little song from. Hold on. Let me see if I can pick something new. I want to pick something new that you guys we haven't played yet. So hang on momentarily here. I'm gonna play. Let me play this one from my little brother Breeze the Voice, featuring Brooklyn Cole. It's called With You, and we're gonna leave you with an independent artist on the program today. Kiaka Hana Kiaka means I'm always thinking about you. Also, rest in peace, Medina Dixon.
Medina, yes.
Trying to reach you out in time and space, but I feel you, I feel you.
Girl, you are a lone star. Your light shines the brightest, and I don't need a telescope to see you. No.
With you is where I long to be. Just you and me, you and me.